All right, here we are. Season 2 premiere of Merriweather's World, aka episode 35. I was looking at it, it's been about a year since I started this, so it seems appropriate that after such a long hiatus that we just call this a new season. Just a word of warning, because of computer issues, everything is holding together by gum and staples. So at any minute, things could just explode into little pieces. Hopefully you'll see it if it does happen, because it could probably be kind of cool. Quick apology for those of you who had to choose between me and the Astros. When I scheduled this, I didn't know that the Astros were going to make it to the World Series. I should have realized that, because when Houston floods, the Astros win. And with the Harvey this year flooding Houston, go Astros. Last I heard, they were doing all right. Hey, we got people already. Hey, William. Hey, Bunny. Hey, Mary. Hey, Debbie. Hey, Kevin. Hey, Mark. You know me from Blast. Excellent. Kathleen and Bunny again. Go Houston. Yes, go Stros. It's kind of cool driving into work every morning. I come down 45 from the north entering Houston, and there's one building kind of off to it would be my right, where they have the office lights on to spell go Stros. It's heartwarming for even us nerds who don't really care anything about sports. But hometown, yay, go Stros. All right, hey, wow, we're actually getting a lot of people. That makes me feel good. I'm as good as a Stro. No, all right. Wow, lots to talk about because it's been a while. And so, like I said, tonight's episode, we're not going to have any presentations because doing so would definitely cause my computer to blow up. Also, we are running free. It's just me. Like I said, me here and me there. Merriweather is caught up with lots of homework. She had some issues with some homework she needs to get taken care of, so it is just me. Hopefully, sometime in the future, she will be able to return to us, but man, she's a busy young lady. All right. Cool. I guess everyone here knows me, but just in case you don't, if there's some strangers out there who are unfamiliar with who Dr. Mark Merriweather Vorderbruggen is of Foraging, Texas. The website, let's see. Oh, I got it right on the first time. www.foragingtexas.com. Here in the Foraging Texas Facebook page. Author of Idiot's Guide Foraging. Crash. Creator of the Foraging Bandana with Wazoo Survival and Dr. Nicole Aplion from the History Channel's Alone show. Hopefully Nicole is watching. If so, happy birthday, Nicole. Mwah! She's still a kid, but yeah, not surprising, but it's her birthday today. So let me do something here quick and just see if I can throw this up here. Maybe not. Let me try one more time. No. Okay, why not? Let me do this, unless it did actually go up and it's invisible to me. Weird. Okay. I'm hoping I just posted the links for Foraging Texas and tonight's sponsor, Uncommon Bees, creator of all sorts of awesome bee-based products, including, the CBD isolate infused honey, which is what I'm drinking right now in my herbal tea. And another cool thing that they've been working on with me is the Uncommon Bee Buzzed Honey. This is basically an energy drink in honey form. To put things in equivalent, this jar of honey here, it's not a big jar, but it's big enough, is equivalent to a whole case, 24 cans of energy drink. We had to redo the warning labels on this, so it's not quite available in their store. But if you need any sort of really awesome honey or beeswax or propolis or really any bee or bee product type stuff, you definitely want to check out Uncommon Bees. Their online store, follow them on Facebook, follow them on Instagram, and check them out at a number of farmers markets and stuff around here. Good things. Also, if you want to directly support Foraging Texas, Obviously, shop at the Amazon store, www.amazon.shop.foragingtexas, which I hope there's a link here that I put up. But if not, we'll put it up later. But anything purchased through that store, I get 6% of the sales price. So 6%. Also, just a note, anything you buy in the next 24 hours, I get 6% of that too, because they're working on the assumption that you came to Amazon to shop because I influenced you. Let's not make them think anything else. We want them to think I'm a big influence on people going to Amazon, even though I know you all go there anyway. Oh, and also for those of you who actually want to wear Foraging Texas, know what your ancestors knew on your chest or other body parts. I now have the Cafe Press store with assorted t-shirts and bags and water bottles and stuff there. And there I get 10% of the price of the object. So all these things will really help contribute to supporting the Foraging Texas website. And one of the big things is getting a new computer that can actually handle everything I'm trying to get it to do. For those of you who are super generous, there's also the wish list on Amazon, which there may be a link there too. So keep going to the Foraging Texas website to see classes that you can attend. All right, let's see. Let's see. Oh, well, I guess it did work. All right. Yeah, we missed Merriwether. I missed her too, but she's busy. Hey, Kristen. Cool. So different people. It's exciting. I was really wondering if anyone was going to show up tonight. All right, some other news. So those of you who've been paying attention, a while back I was talking about writing for Falcon Guides, that they had contacted me to write a series of Foraging Texas books. And so it started with like 3 to 5 books, and then it dropped down to 2 books, and then it dropped down to 1 book. And they wanted all of Texas in 1 book and like 70 plants. And it's like, no, I'm not going to do that. I want to, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to do it right. So I'm going to do broken up Texas into 5 different sections. So you got East Texas, South Texas, Hill Country, West Texas, Panhandle. So 5 different books, 5 different regions. And each one of those will have 70 some plants for that region. There will be a little bit of overlap because like there are blueberries blackberries just about everywhere in Texas. There's oak trees of some sort just about everywhere in Texas. But the rest will be very specific to the different regions. That's what I want to do. And I'm not going to do anything less than that. And luckily, the Texas A&M University Press, who makes a ton, I can't pull them out right now, a ton of books that I already use as references. I ran into a person at the Native Plant Society. We had talked before, but we've really been talking lately. Then I got another phone call with them on Friday. So there is a possibility that the Foraging Texas books will be produced by the Texas A&M, which would be awesome. They would be available in Amazon and Barnes & Noble, and apparently just about every gift shop and place where Texas nature books are sold. I wonder, well, that'd be cool if I had a book at like Arbor Gate Nursery in Tomball, because they have a really good collection of books there. So anyway, working on that. Like I said, I'll know more on Friday if we're ready to sign a contract. And if we are, they said usually, it's kind of funny, they said usually they give the author 1 to 2 years to write the book. And then after that, it's another 18 months from when I finish the submission to it being proofread and published and available for purchase. And I'm thinking, I did the Idiot's Guide in 3 months. I can knock these things out in probably 8 months apiece. So that's my goal. I'm not going to kill myself like I did for the Idiot's Guide, but I'm going to work really hard to get these things out as quickly as possible. part of the reason for getting them out is a Falcon guide. When I told them no, they did say, well, we'll find someone else and to write the Foraging Texas book. So they're going to contact someone who will then write a book about foraging, wild edible plants in Texas. No idea who they're going to get. We'll see what happens, but part of my goal then is to, beat them to market. So we'll see. Hey, Nick. Hey, Melody. Hey, my dad's here. Everyone say hi to Jim Vorderbruggen. That's my dad. He's an awesome dude. Jesse, I like your idea of making the spines line up to make a cool Texas flag. That is cool. Okay, I like that idea. I'm going to share that with the Texas A&M. Tell me about American Beautyberry, please. All right, so we have our first plant-based question. That is the berry right now, mainly in East Texas woods. That is 6 foot tall bush, between 4 and 6 foot tall. Big green leaves that are starting to look all ratty and tore, and you'll have 2 leaves directly opposite each other on the stem. And where the last several sets of leaves are, there'll be clumps of magenta berries, small magenta berries. Very, very, very unique looking plant, very, very unique looking clusters of berries. If you go to the Foraging Texas website, there we go. You can see it, but raw, the berries are just kind of They're not really all that good. What they really are magical in is if you make a jelly out of them, or also people have made wine. If you were going to make a jelly out of them, you want to go get a packet of Surgel pectin, probably 2 packets, and usually on the back there will be a recipe for a blackberry jelly recipe, because blackberries are pretty much everywhere in the US. But if there isn't a recipe for blackberry jelly on the box, get a recipe from online or buy the Ball Blue Book of Canning and Preserving. But you want a blackberry jelly recipe, and just however many blackberries they say, just swap those out with an equal number of the beauty berries. Now, everything else in the recipe remains the same too, except that you do need to increase the pectin amount. Off the top of my head, I'm not sure how much pectin they add, but you want to add at least another 5% and maybe as much as 10%. There's something in the beautyberry that inhibits the gelling effect of the pectin. And if you don't add enough pectin, what you will end up with is a very wonderful flavored syrup. It has a great beautyberry. Hey, you know what? Wait a minute. Oh, no. I thought I might have some beautyberry jelly here, but this is burdock vodka. Somewhere. Oh, well. Somewhere I have some beautyberry syrup that a fan sent me. So I don't know what happened to it. I need to find it, unless my kids ate it. Oh, well, so be it. But yeah, you need to increase the amount of pectin. Pectin is the gelling agent. And so you want to increase it 5 to 10% to get an actual jelly. Otherwise, you will just get a syrup. As far as making a wine from it, again, basically use your favorite wine recipe, wild berry wine recipe, and do all the things. You just swap out the fruit with the beauty berries. You will probably have to add some extra sugar to it because the beauty berries don't have as much natural sugar as, say, grapes or blackberries or some of the sweeter fruit. But the end result is really, really, really good. All right. People are saying hi to my dad. I'm assuming Mom is watching too. Say hi to Mama Weather too, Grandma Weather. Hey Emma. Hey Tina. Hi Tina. How are the Astros doing? Deborah Ewing. The white powder the same as the pink. White powder. Not sure what you're talking about. If you can give some more clarity, that would help. Daddy Weather. I wish I could show you. I have, if you're here on like Father's Day, I always put a picture of my dad up back from his race car days, and everyone says, "Wow, he's so handsome. He looks like Rock Hudson." It's like, yeah, thanks. Yeah. Hey, Tina. Mushrooms. Okay. Yeah. So Jesse, the books we're still discussing. Either they will be each on the Foraging Texas books that I'm writing. Either each book will have a section devoted to mushrooms, or the mushrooms will be a totally separate book. We're still deciding there. If we do a totally separate book, then that would actually end up being 7 books, because along with the 5 geographic zones, also writing a medicinal plants of Texas book. And then maybe the mushrooms will be a separate book, or they will be added to the 5. Still debating on that. In regards to the mushrooms, like the East Texas, the Hill Country, the Panhandle, those areas, the Great Plains, those definitely have mushrooms. The West Texas and the South Texas are a little more mushroom deficient. So we will have to see. It might just be that the mushrooms will be in the books, where there's lots of mushrooms. And then West Texas and South Texas, maybe not so much. My mom too. Hey. Oh, okay, Deborah. Yeah, so the white beautyberry, that's the Japanese version. It's okay. I haven't made anything with it, but from the few people that I've talked to that have made jelly from it, they said it's the same as the magenta pink beautyberry, the American beautyberry. So go ahead and make it. On the beautyberry jelly, if the color fades, if you want that real strong magenta color, as you cook and add sugar and that sort of stuff, sometimes that color will fade. If it does, add a few drops of like lemon or lime juice. If you make it a little bit acidic, that color will come back. It's in chemistry what we call pH dependent. Hey, Nick is back. Oh yeah, fungus. There's amazing. Texas. People, for some reason, think Texas isn't a big mushroom state. Texas is a big mushroom state. There's a lot of cool things here. In fact, we even have morel mushrooms. I really can't think of a mushroom that we don't have that's amazingly good that someone else has. And one thing we do have that no one else has is there's actually a truffle. Actually, several truffles here in Texas that are considered just about as good as the European truffles. I still personally haven't found any. I'm hoping to somehow get pictures of them from somewhere, somehow. But especially in the hill country and around old pecan orchards. Places where lots of pecan trees have been around for a long, long, long time. There are a pecan truffle that grows symbiotically with them. So pretty awesome. Hey, Terry. Kevin, okay. Kevin was right. Texas does not have chaga mushrooms. That is only up north. Chaga, it's a extremely medicinal mushroom with all sorts of really great properties. The one issue is it forms like a wooden lump on the side of birch trees and certain other trees up north. And the way it spreads its spores is during the wintertime when the temperatures get down to like negative 15, negative 20, the wood or the surface of the chaga splits open some, and then in the summer the spores can escape. It does not get that cold here, thank God. Jesse, you've come on drive so far. Even chanterelles. There's a lot of chanterelles out right now. Yeah. Part of the issue, unfortunately, right now, it's so you can only legally collect mushrooms from the national forests here in Texas. You cannot get them from state parks. You cannot get them from city parks or other public land. The only places you can harvest mushrooms, and only for yourself, not for sale, I think you're limited to 1 gallon, is the national forests, like the Sam Houston National Forest, the Davy Crockett National Forest, and the Angelina National Forest. They are off the beaten path, so you got to go, crawling around in the woods looking for them, which makes you look like a deer, and it is deer hunting season. So this time of year, I usually hold back on going up to the Sam Houston in particular because there's a lot of deer hunters up there, and I'd rather not get shot. So I wait until January, like, was it the second weekend when the season is over, and that's when I go hunting, especially for oyster mushrooms, and the lion's mane mushrooms are really, really prevalent then. Oh, you saw a lot of chaga in Glacier National Park. Cool. Let's see, what else do we have? Great. Let's see. Zoom in. Okay, Diana, you're asking, assuming the zombie apocalypse is near, of the plants ready for harvest now, which should be a priority? Also, which ones are better to consume now, and which are to store for winter, spring, edible, and or medicinal? Okay, so zombie apocalypse, calories, vitamin C. Calories, so acorns, black walnuts, hickory nuts, gather all those, leave them in the shell. If you can, vacuum seal them and then put them in the freezer. The problem with a lot of nuts is the oils and the fats in them that are great sources of calories are not very shelf stable. And when oxygen gets to them, it causes them to turn rancid, spoil like butter. So the key to storing them for a long time is to keep as much oxygen away from them as possible, and then also drop the temperature so as to slow the chemical reaction. So vacuum seal the acorns, the hickories, the black walnuts, pecans, any of the nuts. Vacuum seal them, store them in the freezer. Yopon holly, you want for the caffeine because you need to be awake and alert during the zombie apocalypse. Pine needles are a great source of vitamin C. What else is the main things? Oh, there are still reishi mushrooms around, R-E-I-S-H-I, reishi mushrooms, which you will want to collect for medicinal properties. And for those, you want to chop up really fine and just then let them air dry. Where is mushroom, reishi mushroom? That would be a really good one. Where is, oops. It's so much nicer when Merriwether is here. Oops, why are you not doing that? Okay, we'll get that up there. Another thing is the American Lotus tubers are around. If you ever are driving on 45 from Houston northbound towards Dallas, after you pass through Palmer, or right around Palmer, small little town, on the southbound side, there is this stretch, a small stretch where there is all sorts of big religious signs and crucifixes and so forth. And if you swing in there, the pastor there, his name is Elliot. He's an incredibly nice guy. But on their property, they have this pond filled with lotus. And if you talk to him, he's very agreeable to letting you harvest some. He doesn't preach to you or anything like that. He may ask a few questions, but very kind-heartedly. Awesome guy. So if you're looking for American Lotus, both the nuts and the tubers, Palmer, Texas, the church along 45 there, please stop and talk to the guy first and ask for permission, though. Don't just go raid the property, all right? Because otherwise, he's going to know I told you it's there, and then it will be upset. So, like anywhere else, you always want to ask permission first. Those are some good ones. What other? Some arrowroot around, especially kind of the East Texas swampy. It's a duck potato. November is the traditional time to harvest them. If you go to Wapato. Ooh, ghost pipe. Okay, Richard, you're teasing me. Richard Shilly Shelley is talking about ghost pipe. This is amazing plant that I have never found in the wild. Has some cool medicinal properties. That being said, I consider it to being close to being endangered, so I'd rather people didn't harvest them. Okay, Mally Kyle, acorns. Is there any easy way to process acorns? Okay, so easy way to process acorns. It depends on your definition of easy. There's no quick way of doing it, but there are some easy ways of doing it. So the reason you need to leach acorns is they are loaded with a chemical called tannic acid. Tannic acid, it's very bitter, and it will give you a really upset stomach and basically cause your throat to close up if you just start eating a few acorns raw. Luckily, tannic acid is very water soluble. So, and because the nut meat is so rich in calories, it was quickly figured out a long time ago by early mankind that, hey, if I take the crushed acorn, so you take them out of the shell, so you just have the acorn meat crushed up into, little pieces about yay big, put them in a woven bag or woven basket, and then soak them in running water, a stream, a river, a creek, something like that. Not just stationary water. Don't boil them. It needs to be running water, because that running water, as it comes by, it will extract the tannic acid and take it away with it. If you just soak it in still water or boil them, the tannic acid isn't going to be removed. You need to have water flowing over it. Think of it like making coffee. You need to have the water flow through the coffee grounds, which leads to my way of making acorn or leaching acorns. I use Mr. Coffee. If you go to the Salvation Army or Goodwill store, usually they'll have a Mr. Coffee there for like $4. So you get one of those, you just fill the filter paper with the, say a cup, maybe cup and a half, up to 2 cups. I wouldn't go more than 2 cups of crushed up acorn meal in the filter. Also, you don't want to grind it into powder. If it's a powder, it's too hard for the water to leach through it. So you want chunks. Crush up, put it in the filter, and fill up the reservoir, and just start pretending you're making coffee. And you're gonna have to make anywhere from 5 to 15 pots of coffee. So you gotta, after it runs through, you gotta have hot water ready to go to refill the reservoir, because you don't want the acorn meat to cool off. If it cools off, then it kind of shrinks up some, and it becomes harder to get the rest of the tannic acid off that. So you kind of have to constantly have that hot water flowing through it. And that will, however long it takes to make, anywhere from 5 to 15 pots of coffee. What I recommend to tell when it's ready is after each pot, take a little bit of the acorn meal and test it and see if it's still bitter or not. So that's the one way. Those of you who are fans of Hank Shaw, hunt, gather, cook, big foraging guy out in California, his method is to take the acorn meal and put it in a blender, and I think it's equal amounts of water and acorn meal. I can't remember off the top of my head. It might be 2 cups water, 1 cup acorn meal. But if you go to Hank Shaw, to his website, or just Google Hank Shaw processing acorns, he'll give you the ratios. But what he does is he blends it in a blender. So he purees it in a blender, turns it into powder, and then pours it into a tall, thin jar. What he recommends are sauerkraut, Korean kimchi jars. It's a long, tall glass jar. Pours the slurry from the blender into that jar, lets it sit overnight in the refrigerator. The acorn protein and nut meat and so forth sinks to the bottom. The water sits on top, and the water has the tannic acid in it. So you very carefully remove the water from the solids, and then you add fresh water and whip it up in the blender again and put it back in the refrigerator overnight. Decant off that top layer that separates again, and then add more water, blend it up, put it in the refrigerator, let it sit overnight. So it's a 3-day process, or a 3-night, 4 days, 3 nights sort of process, but at the end you have the acorns free of the tannic acid too. So those are different ways. Let's see. Oh, yeah, good one. Kevin Russ mentioned lantana for external use. So the lantana, especially the native ones, have been found to have some amazing wound healing properties. Now, lantana leaves and flowers are extremely poisonous to the point of being deadly if you consume them. But if you take the dried leaves and then if you have a wound, you crush up the dried leaves with some warm water and slap it as a poultice on the wound, and it actually has been proven to speed up the healing of the wound quite significantly. I want to say it's like a 10 to 15% increase. It might be even more than that on healing the wound. Wade Phillips started 2 bare root ones this year. No luck, both died. Okay. Ooh, chinkapins. Yeah, so those of you out in East Texas, chinkapins and I guess beech nuts are past, but the chinkapins, those, they look like acorns wearing fuzzy, bristly porcupine coats, but they are delicious. They don't have the bitterness that acorns have. They're actually closer to like a pecan sort of thing, a nice sweet pecan. But yeah, those are East Texas sort of thing. Okay, Julie Gracie, what are the Wapato lookalikes? So let's talk about that for a second. If you go up the top of the left-hand thing, there's actually a search feature where you can type in Wapato and it'll bring it in. But Wapato, it has an arrowhead-shaped leaf. Ooh, hey, I have paper. So, okay, so that is the basic shape of the Wapato leaf. And its vein pattern, you have to bear with me here. Okay, it's what we call palmate, where it has a bunch of thick veins that all start from, the stem is attached here, and then the veins run from there down to the edges of the leaf. That's the one you want. The mimic, and there are several, but if you kind of recognize that leaf as kind of a taro or an elephant ear or a coleus, is that a coleus? Yeah. That is the poisonous mimic. And they can be made edible with some manipulation. But the poisonous mimic, it has this vein pattern, what we call the pinnate, where it has one center vein, and then all the other veins come off it, as opposed to the Wapato. So, let me... I'm not an artist here. Okay, so this is the poisonous one. The tubers associated with them are the poisonous ones. The tubers associated with them, the Wapato, are the good ones. So that's like a skull there. Okay, you know what? I should have paper here more often. So yeah, that's the main thing. One thing I've kind of noticed, it's the Wapato will generally just be in still or extremely slow moving streams, but usually it'll be more in still water. Whereas the poisonous one will be both in still water, but also in running water and streams that are fairly fast. But the key is that vein structure. Oh, okay. Hey, Deborah, you were talking to your 3-year-old about eating or not eating acorns. That's good. Okay, Mark Gibbs, what about steaming acorns? I've never tried that, and I doubt that will work. Just because the amount of water that they would be exposed to is probably low. It is worth trying. There are a lot of acorns out there. In fact, okay, that's your homework assignment, is to steam some acorns and see what happens. Let's see. The tannic acid will not help you tan better. It will, however, make your skin tight and leathery, because everyone wants tight, leathery skin. Oh, good. Yeah, Honest Food Net. Julie Gracie put it up. So eating acorns, how to collect, process, and eat acorns. If you don't want to go to the Foraging Texas website, you can go to honestfood.net. I mean, I can't blame Hank Shaw. He's an amazing dude. He has amazing recipes. He actually turned his foraging passion into a life business, whereas I'm stuck. But the Forking Weeds coupon code does still work for Uncommon Bees. Wow, 8:42 already. Ooh, Deborah, she got some good. Okay, comfrey can cause liver damage. Mainly that is the Russian comfrey one, and it's in really large doses being consumed where it can get to your liver. Topical type things aren't going to get in there. But yeah, that's. I mean, it takes a huge amount. It's like, the amount of apple seeds you need to get any sort of measurable cyanide. Ooh, sarsaparilla. Okay, so sarsaparilla, that is the tuber of the greenbrier. In particular, the one that has the... Back to the paper. So greenbrier is a thorny vine. So, thorny vine. And it has alternating leaves, and at the base of each leaf there are 2 tendrils. And it has the palmate vein structure. So not the pinnate, but it's the palmate. So like think fingers coming from a hand. Now, the particular greenbrier root you want has along the edge of the leaf these little, they're not really teeth, they're like little, really soft thorns, little points, little tips, I will call them teeth. And the leaf itself is going to be a mottled green, both dark green and light green. If you go to the Foraging Texas website under greenbrier, you will see a picture of that. But that one has the best of the sarsaparilla root flavor. Ooh, I love the CBD honey and Uncommon Bee Farm. You should. This is good stuff. It's been decided that I need to sleep more than like 2.5 hours a night. So I'm trying to see if the CBD honey helps with that. I just started it 2 nights ago. And I don't have enough report. I was starting with a small dose, and so I've been increased it. So I actually have 1 teaspoon in here. I've been working my way up because I kind of like to start small and just see what it takes. And we'll see what happens. That being said, I mean, those of you that know me, I'm a very, very big guy. I'm 6'5" and 245 pounds. A few years ago when I had foot surgery, they ended up putting 17 shots of Novocaine into my foot to deaden it. They said normally it takes 3. So we'll see what happens. But there is a lot of really good anecdotal and some scientific evidence on the benefits of CBD. And the Uncommon Bee, they actually use a CBD isolate, not the oil. It's even a more pure form of the CBD, and it goes well into the honey. So we will see. But yeah, I'm glad you like it. Order more. Let's see. Oh, we grow comfrey. Animals love to eat it. Comfrey is also really good as a compost plant. It's very vitamin and mineral rich, and so there's lots of recipes for compost tea made using comfrey. I grow it in my medicinal herb garden. Merriwether had an issue for a while of twisting ankles really badly, and so we went through a lot of comfrey poultices to help with that because it does have some tissue regeneration, especially for ligaments. To help repair strains and sprains and dislocations and things like that. Okay. I get better sleep with mimosa than CBD, but CBD is great anxiety. See, that's interesting. I'm probably the least anxious person you will ever meet. I hear people talk about anxiety and I go, I just can't phantom that. Now, that being said, I kind of worry sometimes. Like at work, we recently lost a really huge customer. Not my fault. Not my fault, but paying for it anyway. So be it. And again, it's life. Susan Dunn, are all hibiscus edible? So, are all hibiscus edible? That's a good question. Originally, yes. And if you still have the traditional red, like Hawaii 5-0 red hibiscus, those are considered edible. However, hibiscus have undergone all sorts of weird hybridizations and breedings and weird, genetic manipulations. And so it is now considered, we don't know if all of them are safe anymore. Basic rule of thumb I tell people, if you have a red hibiscus or any of the wild mallow plants, those are edible. If you are at the garden center and they have some amazingly funky gold and blue and red hibiscus flowers, we don't know if those are still edible or not, because when you changed the chemistry to make all those funky colors, you very likely changed other chemistry too, and can no longer guarantee those are safe. So traditional red hibiscus, yes. Wild, ungenetically modified hibiscus, yes. Malvas. Funky colored hibisci, better off not, just to be on the safe side. Ooh, you got some Wattens. Cool. Let's see. I love comfrey. Oh, comfrey, like bath soap or bath soak is really nice too. So you get some candles going. You get some hard rock blasting. It's a good time. Hey, Dad. Let's see. Oh, hey, Chad. Yeah, you're coming in at the end here. Tina Marie, I'm not using comfrey in multiple ways. Bath soak, poultice, ocean, oil. Any use for Hercules Club? So we're pretty much past. So Hercules Club, also known as prickly ash, toothache tree. On Foraging, Texas, you will find it under the prickly ash label. So halfway down there, prickly ash. Its leaves and seed husks and bark are a strong oral Novocaine-like numbing agent. So if you had a toothache in the spring or early summer, you would chew on some leaves and it would numb your mouth. And then your buddy would come in with the pliers or a rock or something and yank the bad tooth out. During the fall and winter months, you can use the bark the same way. It tastes terrible, but you take a small strip of bark. You only need, like that much, even less. You chew it up and you put it against the gum wherever you have the bad tooth. And then after a few minutes, it'll go numb. And then your buddy can yank the tooth out. A tincture of the bark, where you take the bark, shred it, pulverize it, soak it in vodka 6 to 8 weeks, and then strain it out and take that. That is a very potent sweat inducer. So if you have someone that's sick but has like a low-grade fever, you give them a dropper full of the prickly ash, Hercules Club, toothache tree tincture, and it will usually bump their temperature up a few degrees, 2-3 degrees. Now, if they already have a temperature of 102, 104, don't give them the tincture. But if they're at like 99 or something and they're just not feeling well, that will help. Because remember, the purpose of the the purpose of the temperature, the increased temperature, is to make the body an unfavorable environment for the bacteria or whatever infection is going on, and to help denature it, kill it, drive it off. Oh, wow. Her dentist in Livingston actually has prickly ash bark in his office. That's awesome. Tell him I said hi. I have no idea who he is, but, get him hooked on me. Okay, Susie, how can you tell when beautyberries are ready to harvest? So you want to find ones that are a deep magenta, but not starting to shrivel. So you don't want them green, you don't want them pink, you want them a nice magenta color. Go to the website, www.foragingtexas.com. Look up Beautyberry. It's up on the top on the left-hand side. It'll have pictures of the right color. But those are the ones you want to collect. If you get them a little early, it's not a problem. They're not poisonous or anything. But really, you want all the cluster to be a nice magenta color. But you also want the berries to be plump looking and none of them starting to shrivel or look, like they're starting to rot, obviously. So plump, magenta color, you're good to go. Hey, Paula. Let's see. They actually start to smell strong. That's true. I have such a trashed sense of smell, though, from my years in the chemical industry that I no longer trust my nose for things. Okay. Deborah Ewing, I make and take plant tinctures. What is your view on stomach acid and what it does to herbal teas? Do you get more out of tinctures or teas? I base the tincture or tea on the chemistry of what I'm trying to extract. In some cases, a molecule will be more alcohol soluble and so less water soluble. On the Foraging Texas website and on the medicinal book I'm talking about, I go into that, when you should use a tincture, when you should use a tea. As far as the stomach acid, yeah, it's going to have some effect, but it really depends on the chemistry of the molecule, how quickly it passes from the intestine into the body. There's a lot of factors that you got to kind of juggle, which makes it complicated. So I stick to the chemist's route of what is going to extract the largest percentage of the active compounds that I want. And so that's usually what will determine an alcohol or a tea. In a lot of cases, either will work. In a few cases, the alcohol has a definite benefit over the water. It depends on what we call the polarity of the molecule. Oh, wow, 8:55. Let's see, what else do we have here? Oh, anyone got a score? How are the Astros doing? If you could just post that up. I'm just kind of curious. Like I said, I'm not a sports person at all. So I could... Story time with Merriwether. Way back, I don't know if it was kindergarten or first grade, but, T-ball. So, I signed up for T-ball. Yeah, I'm going to play T-ball. It's going to be great. And I actually got, a team, shirt, and I was the Astros. I was on the Astros team. So that was like, cool, Astros. I even in kindergarten, I knew I wanted to be an astronaut. It didn't turn out, but I wanted to be an astronaut. So Astros was awesome. And I, and they didn't have any practices or anything. They just, put us all in the dugout, our team. And being the tall, nerdy kid, all the other players picked on me to the point where I ended up just running home and never went back. I don't even know what happened. I might have even, took the Astros shirt off and ran home, topless. But being that terrible memory as it may be, go Astros. So, tied 2-2. All right. Oh, interesting. I wonder if it's going to be one of those games that goes till like 11:30. Oh, hey, Jacqueline. 3 minutes left. I was trying to think if I had any words of wisdom. And I kind of do, but I'm not sure if they're wise or not. But I've been thinking about a lot of things lately. And you've heard me talk about, the value of the seconds of your life, because in the end, that's the only thing valuable you truly have. Those seconds. You can trade them for money. You can, obviously spend time with your family, good things like that. But what do you do with that? But it kind of led me to some more thinking. And there are all sorts of horror stories and science fiction stories about how terrible it would be if you became immortal. If you lived forever, all your friends would die and everything. And so lots and lots about warnings about becoming immortal. Fewer warnings on the curse of wanting to become immortal. Let me see if this makes sense here. So Foraging, Texas. I will be the first to admit a large part of what drives this is I want to leave a mark on the world. No pun intended. Someday I will no longer be, but I want the knowledge of me to remain. I'm being egotistical. I don't know. I don't want to just be one of the bazillions of people that appear on the earth and then disappear and no longer are known. That being said, that drive for immortality of that sort has still caused damage in my life. And I mean, those of you who remember last year I talked about this, that I actually had to end up cutting back so I could spend more time with my family. So it's a hard battle, going, I want to be immortal versus I should live right now. So there is a curse of not just being immortal, like they say in the sci-fi and horror stories, but there's a curse about questing to become immortal, and try not to fall into that. It's hard, especially if you got an ego the size of a planet like me. All right. Ooh, copyright your work. Mark on the world. Hey, I like that. So Wade, that's why I'm doing this. I want people to take care of themselves. Those of you have heard me say it many, many times, my grandfather, the more people you can feed, the fewer you have to shoot. I don't want you to have to shoot people. I want you to be able to feed yourself, your family, and others, because you've also heard me talk about how fragile this world is. Okay, I don't know if that's ending on a depressing note or not, but hey, here's the good news. I will be back next week, 8 p.m. here on Facebook Live with episode 36 of Merriweather's World. No idea what it's going to be on. A lot of it depends on if my computer is actually up and running. But thank you all for spending this time with me. I love you very, very much. All right. Okay. On this point, good night all. Ooh,